What's going on, Canopy growth traders and investors? It's Rod with POW Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Friday. Happy Friday. It's June 20th. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to take a look at Canopy growth. We'll bring up CGC, what to expect in terms of the technicals and the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. But spoiler alert, there is a bearish continuation pattern on deck. You could see another leg lower. We're looking at about 117 USD as the target. And flirting again with that second reverse split similar to Aurora. But we'll discuss all of that and more in today's video. Before we do, make sure to smash the like. If you're new, you can subscribe. Tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And full disclosure, I do own CGC. Only a few percent of my MJ portfolio, but I still own it nonetheless. Want to be fully transparent. Also, you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So we'll jump into the 2-hour chart here. This is the bear flag that I was mentioning and bearish continuation pattern. So we have our high, our low, very weak bounce, and we did not get above 136, which was the 0.382 fib. Anything under that was the potential for a 2-hour bear flag. And then you just take your measured move there from the high to the low, move it out to your 0.32 fib. And once we lost support there at 128, that confirmed it. And then we have a target of 117. So we're back down to getting close to that dollar region, and we were at 77 cents, and after hitting 77 cents we hit almost $2. I think it was $1.99 to be exact. Let me just take a quick look at it. Yeah, it was $1.99. So we're back down to 124 at the close today, but again, that measured move's looking like we could see 117 here, maybe even as soon as this week, especially with the Middle East tensions that are rising. And essentially we're about 5% away. The S&P 500, the broader market has been weak. So what have we been noticing with MJ? It's nothing brings us up, but everything brings us down. We don't need anything to go down, but we need, basically a miracle to see prices go up. And in my opinion, I've been saying this for many, many months now. It feels like years at this point. We need something concrete, not, this is progressing or there's some hope here or hope there. We need actual concrete catalysts that are happening. And it's going to be either, in my opinion, rescheduling or safer banking. And again, not just votes being done or bills going through Congress, actually being enacted, right? Once Schedule 3 is actually enacted and 280E goes away, that's going to be a catalyst that's going to lift everything out of this bear market. It's been a multi-year, right? A 4-year brutal bear market really since 2021. So it's going to take something, basically catastrophic. We need something like monumental at this point, right? Like it's been catastrophic. So we need something that's going to be earth shattering, and that's either going to be rescheduling or safer banking or some other, green swan. Essentially, a green swan is just something that's super bullish that you can't predict, similar to a black swan where that's something very, very bearish that you can't predict. So I can't really imagine. Let me know in the comment section below if you can think of anything else. But this price action has been absolutely, we've just been demolished, right? And it's been catastrophic. You're not going to reverse catastrophic losses without some sort of significant catalyst, right? And that's either going to be rescheduling or safer banking, in my opinion. I think there's it's a very high chance that gets done over the next couple of years. But again, until it actually happens, nothing's going to change. And if you look at how popular crypto has been lately, every second word out of this new administration is either blockchain, crypto, or AI. And I've been saying for a while now that it's going to be, once those are no longer in the spotlight, we don't absolutely have to have those out of the spotlight to see some gains, but we're not going to see sustained gains. We're not going to see new all-time highs across the sector. We're not going to see 52-week highs across the sector until that happens, in my opinion, because it's almost laughable how brutal the MJ space has been over the last few years. And to be only invested in MJ stocks right now, I can't imagine the frustration, right? There's a reason why my number one crypto holding is worth more than my rest of my entire crypto portfolio and my MJ portfolio combined, and that's XRP. XRP is worth more than my entire crypto and the rest of my crypto portfolio and my MJ portfolio all combined, right? And that's because one's in a 5-year bull market and one's in a almost 5-year bear market, and one has the most potential, in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that to be, I told you so mindset or anything like that. I'm just saying, we have to be aware of what is happening. And when we're in a 4-year bear market, the saying goes, don't catch a falling knife. But at the end of the day, you can't add at any better prices, right? We're at all-time lows, 52-week lows, But are you okay with waiting 4 years, 5 years? Like, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, right? And that's what people don't realize is that, here, once we're done of this brutal bear market, there'll be an epic bull market again, right? And again, look at today, right? We had the S&P 500 down, most world sectors down, and everything has been pulling back. Look at Circle IPO, right? Which is a stablecoin company that just launched in the US. They had an IPO. It's been, I think it closed the first day at like $83, just hit $240 today, while everything else is bleeding. What just passed in the Senate? The Genius Act, which is a stablecoin bill. We could see market structures. So we're seeing crypto legislation created. And then after that, once that's done, I think they're going to pivot towards MJ. Obviously, there's a lot of other issues, but that'll be another focus. And again, we'll get our time in the spotlight eventually. It's just, MJ's maybe lucky to be $100 billion industry globally, and crypto's already in the trillions. So it's no wonder that they're making, MJ take a little bit of a back seat here. On the daily time frame, we could see ultra oversold conditions, which is the new Powell algo indicator that essentially takes a look at the daily, the 4-hour, and the 1-hour time frame. And when they're all oversold simultaneously, we get an alert. So look what happened the last couple of times that we were ultra oversold here. We had a huge bounce. This one we saw a bounce of about 20%. And then 2 back-to-back without being ultra overbought is a huge buy signal. The last time we were ultra overbought, we bounced 160%. So we're getting close to that daily oversold territory. We could see ultra oversold. At this point, we're looking at 117. We could be back down to $1. We could see another reverse split. It's very possible, right? What if the S&P 500 were to continue to down spiral from here, right? What if we continue to tailspin? What if, the U.S. actually got involved in the Iran war? Like, there's so many things that could bring us down from here, right? You have to be aware of that. And not to mention the fears of another reverse split on CGC, right? So a second reverse split. Aurora has already done 2 reverse splits, right? It's not something that we can't rule out at this point. And there could very well be another reason, why we see another reverse split, right? Like if we see the S&P 500 drop another 5-10%, what is the rule of thumb? If the S&P 500 is down 1-2%, multiply that by about 3 or 4 for individual stocks. And if it's a sector like MJ that's super, super volatile and risky, then yeah, you could easily multiply that by 4. If SPY's down 1%, MJ could be down 4%. So you have to factor that in. And again, you have to be aware that, when you buy, you're probably not buying the bottom. And, we like coming off 77 cents to $1.99, I bet you so many people thought that this thing, there's no way in hell this thing does another reverse split now. But here we are. Look how fast things can change. And we have a target of 117. We could easily be back down in the next couple of days. Be back under $1 and start that timer again for another potential reverse split. So again, and the company has a high load, debt load. They're like, I think, in my opinion, Canopy Growth will be lucky to be profitable by 2027. There's a reason why it's only a few percent of my portfolio. I don't think they're going to go anywhere, right? I don't think they have so many brands, they have so many assets that at the end of the day, they can start selling things off. And they have deep pockets, right? They have backing of Constellation Brands. So I don't think they're going to go anywhere. It's the mom and pop shops, right? It's the companies, the small producers that are at risk, right? They don't have the ability to just tap into their deep pockets like we have with Canopy Growth and all these ties to Constellation Brands. So you have to call a spade, and right now it's not looking good, right? Like we could easily see another 5-10% of downside from here, be at that $1 mark, and then be flirting with another reverse split, and then all the FUD that comes with that. We just had a stochastic bear cross, close below the 10-week moving average. Again, I own the stock, but only a few percent of my MJ portfolio. I would never put any more than 10% of my portfolio into this. Like I said, at best case scenario, they might turn a profit by 2027. That's, like I said, absolute best case. And the company, I think it has a lot of great assets, Stores and Bickle specifically. They're getting it into the U.S., but they're doing it through this, Canopy USA and Holdings Company, which is a novel structure. We just don't know how that really looks, and we don't know what kind of legalization could be on the horizon as well in the U.S. So a lot of things can change if we get rescheduling or safer banking. Obviously, that's going to, that would have a huge impact on prices. But as of right now, I would expect a lot more downside and a potential for FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, of another reverse split. We're well below all of our weekly moving averages. We're well below all of our daily moving averages. There's really nothing to look forward to here at the moment for the short-term outlook, other than another potential ultra oversold condition. And once that prints, that might be a decent area to start targeting for an entry in daily oversold. But as of right now, again, there's a very high probability that we're going to see another potential drop below $1 and all the FUD that comes along with that. And we know that when something's below $1 and it's on the NASDAQ, we always have to, be aware that, the talking heads, the mainstream media is going to start saying, another reverse split, second potential reverse split, similar to Aurora. Again, it's not the end of the world, in my opinion. Even if they were to do a second reverse split, I don't think the company's going anywhere. But the impacts of that are hugely, hugely bearish. So just, be prepared for more downside. And, it can always go lower than we expect, and even lower than that. So, yeah, I feel for people. I see the frustration each and every day in the comments, and, just in the POW Group private community, and people that are reaching out to me on socials, just telling me that they can't believe that MJ's this low and it just continues to bleed out. And I've never seen a more manipulated sector. I thought crypto was manipulated, but this is unlike anything I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've been studying financial markets for almost 2 decades now, and I've been around pretty much every new burgeoning emerging market over the last couple of decades. And even the .com days, like, that was very, very manipulated, but this is on a whole nother level. And the reason why is because of how disruptive it is, right? It's not just Netflix disrupting Blockbuster, right? It's not just the horse and buggies being disrupted by the automobile. The MJ industry is disrupting big alcohol, big tobacco, and big pharma simultaneously. These are huge industries, folks. Trillions and trillions of dollars being disrupted. They're not going to go down easy. And like I said, I worked for a pharmaceutical company. They were involved in the opioid crisis. All they could talk about for years, for about 2 years straight, was how to pivot into CBD and cannabinoids and cannabinoid-based medicine. And that was the talk of the town, like I said, for about 2 years straight. So if one big pharmaceutical company, billion-dollar pharmaceutical company is doing that, just imagine the magnitude of how many others are doing it. And then factor in big alcohol and big tobacco. The writing is on the wall, folks. They're going to come for this industry. And what they're going to do is they're going to weed out, no pun intended, all of the small operators. They're going to use all the entrepreneurs, the great ideas, the innovators. They're going to weed them out. They're going to buy them up for pennies on the dollar. They're going to take all of their great IP, all of their great ideas and innovations, and they're going to have the deep pockets to weather the storm, right? And the ones that come out on the other side after this carnage is all said and done, those are the ones that are going to make it. So we just have to be patient. I think CGC will make it long term. I'm getting a lot of questions of whether or not it's going to hit $1 again and below $1. Don't have a crystal ball. I would say so. Could there be another potential of a reverse split? I would say it's a 50-50 toss-up at this point. But one way or another, we'll find out soon together. All right, going into there, it's Rod with POW Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Have a great night, and we'll see you in the next one.